Hello, everybody. We're going to start this new session about health. And first of all, we are very pleased to welcome our first invited guest, Aurélie Turot, from the company named My Serious Game, no S, and from France in Tours with an S. And then the session will be animated by Stefano Carino. So please.
Thank you. Hi, I'm really pleased to be here to talk about our company and some of our products that we created for the health sector. So, first of all, maybe just a quick presentation of who we are. So, we were established in 2014, and we are a leading company of tailor-made digital training. So we work with a variety of clients and also from all sectors and industries. So we can talk about Bouygues, Vinci, also major French banks such as BNP Paribas. And we work also with public institutions, for example, the French Ministry of the Defense, etc. So we work with them to create digital training solution using various technologies. So, for example, we can create serious game, of course, but we also can create 3D simulations. We can use also adaptive learning, rapid learning, etc. So a variety of technologies on our projects. At My Serious Game, so we also developed our expertise in the medical world. And today we have a dedicated department for this sector. So we work with hospitals, but also training institutions. We work also with health laboratories, for example, Sanofi, Servier. And with them, we create tailor-made digital solution by finding the best technology that would address the pedagogical issue they have. So we never start with the technology, but we start by asking ourselves what are the main pedagogical issues the clients want to address. And then after, we can propose a solution based on different technologies. So today, I would like to present you one of our best representative products. We called it if simulation. And to that, I just want to show you a quick video introduction, and then we can talk about it.
Immersing the nurse in a realistic 3D simulation, French solution if Simulation is a new and innovative.
It's a bit strong. Can I control the... Sorry. Okay, perfect, thank you.
For the training of nurses. Born from the partnership between a team of nursing school teachers, doctors, and a French leader in digital learning, My Serious Game, if Simulation gives the nurses an opportunity to learn by trial and error. Specialized in drugs administration training, the solution's aim is to put into practice all the theory learned in school. It puts the nurses in different situations based on real cases, revolving around 5 topics: the administration of potassium, anticoagulants, insulin, small and very small packagings, and the application of medical prescriptions according to the various methods of administration. Each scenario always starts in the same manner, with the nurse instructor giving only 3 indications: the patient, his room, and the treatment. From there on, it's up to the nurse to prepare the right treatment. This innovative approach allows the nurse to develop the right habits and skills without being guided or directed. After all, learning from your mistakes is the best way to go. The simulation will also lead them to discover multiple environments, an institution for the elderly, an intensive care unit, a pediatric ward, or a neonatology unit, always highlighting the points of doubt and uncertainty that are part of the daily life of nursing staff. A detailed and precise tracking report is made available to the nurse and sent to the instructor, allowing the latter to efficiently identify the strengths and weaknesses of each nurse and to plan possible directions for improvement. Get in touch with the team behind If Simulation and get access to the first training simulation that was designed for the nurses by nurses.
In fact, the project is born from one simple principle, never the first time on a patient. In the current nursing school program, students had only two choices, whether they learn the theory in class or with classic digital training, and after they would train with a full-scale simulation, meaning directly on a mannequin. But it's really costly. So nursing school teachers started to think, what can we do to allow students to train and practice, but with less costs. They had many issues regarding the project. Project issues actually for improving the quality of the training delivered. It was also for securing practices and minimizing unwanted events that could occur when students go in a hospital to work. But they had also technological issues, so the evolution of their approaches and their practices, the diversification of the tools they use to train their students, and also the adaptation to the targets, because students were more and more familiar with digital tools. So it was a good way to go on with the training. So If Simulation is really the perfect match between pedagogy, technology, and expertise. At My Serious Game, we had the technological and pedagogical expertise, but we are not doctors, or we do not have medical staff in our team, so we needed to work closely with the nursing school teachers, the doctors, and also researchers to really create the scenario, every scenarios that students would find within the simulation. So with If Simulation, we wanted to have an immersive environment where students would navigate and discover different services and departments of an hospital. And we also wanted to make them we wanted to develop the autonomy of the students when they face some situations. So If Simulation is more a digital simulation than a serious game as we can think of it. We do not guide the students when they have to do something, but rather we let them make their own decisions and actions. So If Simulation is a ready-to-use solution, we can implement it in nursing schools right away. And it is built around 5 main topics, which I will present to you just after. And we also created 15 scenarios to that. These scenarios are progressive, and it goes with the development of the students through the nursing school program. They can access it off or online, so they can use it at any time, anywhere. And there is one part that is dedicated for the students with the access to all the scenarios and the access also to the different simulation reports. And they also they also have the capacity to access a dedicated platform for the teachers where they would find some pedagogical materials to guide the students through all the simulation. So two different parts within the tool. So the first principle is learning by doing, which means that, again, the students are really in complete autonomy during the simulation. They can click on everything they see in the environment. They can choose to do this or this before going to the patient, etc. So the idea is to let them explore, discover the environment, and then take a decision. Following that, we have a second principle, which is learning by debriefing, because if simulation, it's part of a complete learning path where they have, first of all, the briefing with the teacher, then they can do the simulation, and after that, they have a debriefing with also the teacher. So the reports support the teachers to see what the students have done during the simulation, and so what they have done correctly or not. And it is very important that teachers have this debriefing session after the simulation so they can really understand what was the goal of the scenario and what they did right or not. So just for a quick view, the simulation reports are for each student, for each scenario, and for each trial, since the students can restart many times, as many times as they want, each scenario. So each time you have a report. And if I can just say what you can find in this report, you have also, so first of all, a global view. What is the scenario, how many times the student have done the scenario, etc. You have also a global view of what kind of skills and competencies the students have developed. And after that, you have more details about, for example, the prescription and other indicators that are more concrete for the students. So as I said, we also help the teachers going through the debriefing phase. So we have what we called a training kit. So they can find an introduction memo for the simulation to guide them, to guide the students all along the simulation. And they can find also so a guide for the debriefing, an expected actions grid, so what the student should do during a specific scenario, the ideal simulation path, and a reading grid for each simulation report. So with all of that, teachers are really independent when they propose a simulation for their students. So here you have the big picture of what are the 5 main topics. So we have the first topics is the administration of potassium, then anticoagulant, insulin, small and very small packaging, and finally, application of medical prescriptions. So I would not tell you exactly what the scenarios are, but you have several scenarios for each topic, and for each topic you have specific skills to develop. So you have pedagogical objectives to reach. And to make it more concrete, I will show you just quick video that are representative to one scenario, the administration of potassium. So for example here, remember that the students had only a few indications before starting. I think we gave him like the name of the patient, the number of the room, and sometimes we gave him some indication about the actual treatments. So the students, first of all, has to find additional information to know if the treatment is correct, if the medical prescription is correct too, etc. So for that, there is an access to the patient file on the computer, and which is actually a real interface from a real tool used in a hospital. So they can search and look for other information and decide whether or not the actual treatment, the actual medical prescription is good. After that, students have the opportunity to discuss with the nursing tutor. The tutor is here to help them when they get stuck, for example, if they didn't find the right information. But the tutor is also here to approve the decision or an action. As it is in the real life, nursing students are not always the final decision makers. So we let them get the action and decision approved by a tutor. And as you see it, after having the decision approved, they can look for the right treatment by opening closets and other things. And so they have to find the right treatment, but they also have to prepare the treatment correctly. So everything is simulated in this environment. Then it's time to meet the patient. So the students can open the right door, of course. And here you can see that students have many actions to do before administering the treatment. Just simple things like say hello, make sure this is the right patient, take the vital parameters or something like that. Everything is tracked, and this is a real base for the debriefing after that. So, like I said, they ensure the vital parameters are okay, and after that, they can administrate the treatment. And finally, after that, they have to close the patient file on the computer. So once again, they have many actions to do. They should complete the patient file, make additional comments, etc. So once again, everything is tracked, and everything will be part of the report they will have after the simulation. So this is an example of a report. And as I said, you have various indicators, so global ones, but after you have also more details about what they did exactly, and if it's right or not, if there is some skills that are not enough improved, etc. And with that, they can have the debriefing session with the teacher. So Today, HIF simulation is implemented in several nursing schools. So the product works, and we see that students are really satisfied with this new method to train. We can also see that nursing schools re-engage from year to year with the solution. And what is important to remind is that this simulation can evolve also. We can create other scenarios. We can adapt some scenarios if something changed, for example, the regulation of or other things. So it's really interesting to have this kind of products to train, but not in full scale, but to train before going in a real hospital with real patients. So this is one of our bestseller, if I can say. But we also have other projects in the health sector. So for example, ONCO is a product for pharmacists. It's based on the adaptive learning principle. In that case, it's to train pharmacists to conduct some interviews with their patients who are dealing with cancer. Today, they need to conduct this kind of interviews, and sometimes they do not know exactly how to do it. So we created a solution, a digital simulation to do that. So it's about the posture, the attitude, and the communication skills that pharmacists need to develop. But it's also about technical knowledge, the acquisition of knowledge about the treatment, because it changes every time. So it makes them aware of some change or something like that. And it's an adaptive learning because every choice they make, every time they make a decision, the scenario will change. So we do not end the scenario in the same way if they don't make the same decision during the simulation. It's really to see the impact of their choices at the end of the interview and at the end of when the patient comes to them. A third project, is called Premier Pas, which uses virtual reality, and it's for nursing assistant students. So this time, we have a complete solution because you have 30 minutes in serious game, classic serious game on computer or other devices. You have also 30 minutes in virtual reality with virtual reality solution. And then again, 30 minutes with a serious game on computer. So it's really complete, and it's for each treatment that nursing assistants needs to know. It's more about knowing the care process that they should know for the future. So once again, it's for the posture, the attitude they should have when they work for the future work they would have, job they would have. And the virtual reality is really helping when they have to train on gestures. For example, we can train them on carry a patient from his bed. So it's really helpful in that case, and it allows them to be immersed a lot in this kind of environment and for this kind of gestures. These products are also implemented and they are used by our clients today. So we can also see that it works, and it completes the actual training that the students or staff or medical staff have actually. So I was quick, but thank you for your attention, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate. No question?
I will help you coordinating the question
Okay,
session.
perfect, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much for this presentation. It's really impressive, especially practically. I was just wondering which of these projects you presented are simulations and which are serious games, and how do you, in your company, how do you distinguish between them, and how do you sell those to clients or to partners, say there is a real game aspect, and because the first you presented is more of a simulation with the scenario,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't see a lot of feedbacks, trophies, competition, progression with scores, etc. That could be more of a serious game.
Mm-hmm.
But in other examples you showed, I saw a little trophy,
Mm.
I saw more motivators
Mm.
that we use in serious games. So how do you define where to put more game into the thing? Is it always a positive attribute, or is it seen as maybe detrimental to the project because it's not serious enough?
Mm.
It's several questions.
No.
I just for our public online, just to repeat the question in a shorter way. So no problem. The question is that in your presentation you presented simulation and serious games. So how do you deal about that? You make distinction. Is the serious aspect or the gaming aspects always a benefit or sometimes a drawback? How do you see that?
Yeah. So again, we always start from the pedagogical objectives of our clients. So and it depends also of the target we want to reach. So for if simulation, indeed, it's more like a digital simulation than a serious game itself, because the goal, the objectives were to train them like if they are in real life. So in real life, you do not have a trophy when you take care correctly of a patient or something. So we wanted to make the immersion really close to the real life. So I agree, it's more like a digital simulation. For other projects, we can add some gamification to make the solution more attractive and more fun, if I can say. But it really depends on the pedagogical objectives and also on the targets we want to reach. Is it enough clear? Or?
Yeah, it's quite clear, but then I'm just wondering why is it called my serious game and not my simulation?
Okay, if simulation is not our only product, actually it's really a question that occurs always. Our name do not reflect what we do actually, because we do a lot of things, not only simulation or digital simulation, but also other things, and so it's just our name, but it's not what we do.
So with each simulation, the goal was never the first time, if I understood correctly. And I was wondering life for them takes decades to face. And that's, I have then a second question based on that. If it's to expose them to um, two extreme scenarios,
Mhm.
wouldn't it harm them in the sense that they're not really prepared for the reality, or the reality became boring?
Mm.
Or on the other side, if it's too realistic scenario with the realistic frequency, even became boring? I mean, it's just a question I asked myself. Or you like to know your opinion?
So, to summarize your two questions. So, the first one, I already forget your first question. Please.
So, is this scenario made realistically based on the realistic frequency of the patient, let's say, or are there extreme situations like in Dr. House, everything is apparently realistic, but really with low probability or something like that?
So the question is in the different scenarios simulator that you are developing, are your simulation close to reality? Sometimes you have something that is more extreme, and what is the impact also on the user anyway? And then if you have something extreme, are the users then good in reality? Yeah.
Yeah. So we write the scenarios based on realistic situations. We worked with doctors and nursing school teachers, and we base these scenarios on what they learn and on actual role playing, for example. So it's not something like which is too extreme or not enough realistic. It's really realistic situations that could occur in the real life. So we thought that this was the best way to prepare them before going in a hospital and take care on their patients.
Yassine?
My question is not technical, nor it's a business question. You are developing something which is, in my opinion, dedicated for hospitals or schools, etc. So you are a private company. It means that in France you are already in the situation where public institution or administration or schools are mandating private sector to develop such things, which is a good news. But I'm astonished. Is it the case?
Yeah.
So the answer is yes, but the question was.
Because here in Switzerland, every time we have nice idea, we have nice project, etc. But when we come back to financing, we have nothing. Everything is,
No.
especially for such initiative, it's difficult to find the good instrument, etc. And I rarely see public institution or public hospitals, etc. Perhaps private, okay, but public, yeah, investing in such things, which is, as I said, a good news. So the market is already ready for that,
Yeah.
and you have.
And we do that not only in the health sector, but also, you know, with other public institutions. I talked about the French Ministry of the Defense, etc. We work with public institutions, and they called us because they do not have the technical expertise to do that with their own staff. So, and they have some financings and others to help them to invest in this kind of projects.
Okay, I think we have a few questions from the YouTube.
Yes, there was two questions from YouTube. One said, I've read that you give the pedagogical objectives before the clinical case, when normally it is the debriefing that allows to bring to the objectives. Can you explain the pedagogical interest? And secondly, what is the point of having doctors create the scenarios when the nursing teachers are trained to do so?
Yeah, for the first, No, okay.
You can go
For,
ahead.
for the first one, I would say we gave the pedagogical objective to the teachers. We will have to explain to the students how the simulation works. We do not give it to the students directly before they start the simulation. So I think it answers the first question. For the second one, I forget it.
What is the point of having doctors
Yeah.
create the scenarios when there is nursing teachers that are trying to
Yeah. We wanted to have as most as expertise we could to create, again, realistic situations. And nursing school teachers were really happy to work with and to collaborate with others, medical staff, to write these scenarios. Again, it's maybe a little more complex to think of all the details we need to have in this simulated environment that make it in a role-playing in a classroom or something like that. So doctors and also researchers were really key points in creating these scenarios.
A small technical question.
Yeah.
In your team, are you using always Unity engine to develop your products?
So we have now a short technical question about the engine that you are using to develop. Is it Unity or something else?
So I'm not a technical expert, but we use many times we use Unity, but I should know that we have also other tools to develop some kind of simulation. But I'm sorry, I would not tell you what they are, but I know that we use also other things.
Okay.
But frankly, the most of the time it's Unity.
Yeah.
Yes, thanks for the presentation. I think I got it, but if simulation product, this is a desktop product.
Is it a desktop
sorry.
product? No problem. Is it a desktop product?
Yeah, students use generally the application on their computer, but we create like simulation that can also be accessible from other devices. So, for example, a tablet, iPad, or something.
Actually, my
Okay. No.
as a comparison to the second product, the last one, Omnipa, that is fully immersive, that allows body
Yeah,
movement,
yeah, yeah.
training, these
Yeah.
kind of skills. But so, are you suggesting it's not that important to train full body movement for the type of activity that are handled through if simulation?
No, we did not have we did not think that virtual reality, for example, was really adapted for this kind of activities because with if simulation, we want students like take decisions, make like actions that they can do directly with a computer. So it's immersive because the hospital is simulated, so you can have the impression you are in the hospital, but we do not have the need to make them really with the virtual reality thing. So, Clément, tu veux?
And also, yeah, I would like to add, from my students, I'd like to add that the students actually train on their personal computers. So you have to imagine a full classroom of students with, playing the game. It's not a game, but the simulation on their computer. So they would not be able to, pay for VR. Equipment for each student, so it's also easier for them
Yeah.
to train.
It was the best compromise for this kind of projects.
So, yeah, the focus is procedural knowledge.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
If I can, another question, also general question. I think you have selected the three examples because the theme of this day is health-oriented
Yeah.
application. But can you give us, as developers and company who are working with all kind of public and clients, where serious gaming and gamification are evolving and used the most. So except health.
Okay.
Just so you have presented three examples, and the question is, so you probably develop other application, other domains, and in which domain serious gaming application and gamification are also interesting beyond health?
Yeah, honestly, I do not have the right KPIs, but I think we create this kind of projects for every industries and every sectors. We do not have one domain or one sector that ask us to always to create this kind of project and not some others. So it's really cross-sector, cross-industry. It's more it depends on the topic and the subject they want to address, but it's for every industry, every sectors. We do not have one sector that is most applying this kind. Yeah.
Please.
Again, if simulation, I saw the interaction with patient is through text.
Yeah.
And did the customer express some case where audio would make sense?
Yes.
So in the if simulation, the interaction with the user is with a textual based interaction. Do you think also other kind of way to interact, like voice, could be interesting?
Yeah, we could add some voiceover to make it maybe more real, but it's always better to have something that is written because of the device which is used or something like that. We really advise our client to write it, but if they want, we can also add some voiceover to say the text which is on the screen. So yeah, Clément.
Yeah, and again, that would make a hell of a racket in the classroom, you know. But yeah, and it's actually a lot of content as well, so that would be a lot more expensive
Yeah.
for the client as well.
For this project, it had not be a real value added to have voiceover.
Okay, so
I think there is just one more.
okay. There are two questions more. So ladies first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I think you understand the question better than me, so if you can repeat, it could be better.
Yeah, so actually, today it's a French simulation with French protocols, French name from prescription, etc. But we can make it evolve and change some of the protocols, some of the name for prescription, etc. It will take some time and some additional budget to do it, but it's feasible and it's something maybe one day we would do for one client. So it's not closed. We can open our product to other protocols and other country actually. So it would, for the translation, it would not be automatic. We would have to rewrite the scenarios with the, so translate the scenarios in a language or something, but we can do it also. And maybe it could be a good thing to have at the beginning of the simulation the choice of the country, the choice of the language, etc., to have it centralized in one platform, but for many countries, many languages. It could be one solution, yeah, and it's feasible.
Stéphane?
Thank you so much. So far, so good. I will ask a tricky question.
Oh my God.
So that's a tricky question.
Yeah, you talked about virtual reality as a very efficient tool, I would say, and promising tool. From my knowledge, well, interaction in virtual reality is very tricky. So I would like you to tell us what you think is the hardest stuff to simulate or to do it in terms of interaction in virtual reality in your context.
Okay, so the tricky question is, so the interaction in virtual reality, it's quite complex because it's not like interactive real world. So what do you think, which are the parts that are the most difficult to have in your application?
Yeah, I think as we said earlier, it's maybe feeling the emotion of our of the people we are talking to or the people we are interact with. Maybe it's the most maybe impossible things to do with a digital simulation or a virtual reality solution. But today, we are not so limited to the kind of interaction we want to add to our solution, even if it's not like you do that in the real environment, but you can simulate it and make the learners prepare to do that in the real life, and also make them more, comment on dit, les rassurer, make them more more comfortable with the kind of interaction, of the kind of action they can do. Clément, I don't know if you want to say something about this tricky question.
Yeah, I think that virtual reality is very useful when you are in a very technical situation, that you have to train somebody to do technical things. But those simulations, especially if simulation, is very theory, based on theory. So VR is not necessarily the best way to learn on that case. But for the other one, where we trained, Premier Pas, where we train our nursing students to do technical movements, how to move the patient or stuff like that. It is tricky. I cannot talk for the technical, the developers and everything, how they did that. But we, of course, we worked with the professionals, and they tested the solution themselves to make sure that everything was realistic, and that the fake patient was handled the right way. Is that a good answer to your question?
Yeah, you point out where the direction I'm thinking of, especially how to train, how is it possible to train to touch, and even with current operating systems.
Yeah.
It's impossible, especially in a field where precise movement is very important.
Yeah, but we are actually used to, in other environments, other industries, like we are currently working
I don't know if we're allowed to talk about it,
I don't
but
know.
a really huge company in France working with railroads, and we are training their staff on the new trains and
Maintenance,
the
etc.
engines, which are extremely technical engines with very small parts and everything, and they have to learn how to work on it with VR and I don't think we developed haptic systems for them, but
it's pretty much developed, I think.
okay, yeah. So
But it's more about giving them the right habits, the right reflex.
yeah, habits and
Yeah.
skills.
Yeah, so they will be able to do it in the real life. We know that with virtual reality they will not carry a patient for real, but maybe one day. But it's enough to give them the right habits and to integrate, to acquire the right skills to do that in the real life after that.
Yeah, and this is something that was said this morning. It's a kind of first step. Like it's actually the name of the solution.
It's
but
not the only one.
it is important to make the student at ease with all the movements and how to deal with the patient virtually before they actually do it for real. But like we said this morning, you cannot fly a plane safely with someone who only did it virtually. So this is just the first step for students that are just learning the theory.
So I think we are at the end of this first keynote speech. Thank you a lot.
Thank you.